Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Joining me, Savio Rodrigues, as a new development is taking place. Remember on June 4th, when I saw that the 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘀𝘆 party had extended its support to the Modi government, I had told you that both Chandra Babu Naidu and Nitish Kumar would love to be Prime Minister even if for just one day. And now some developments indicate to Chandra Babu Naidu being wooed by some organizations allegedly backed by the CIA. It doesn't have to be backed by the CIA. There is so much hate that has been instilled in some of these organizations that no matter how reasonably you talk with them, they won't listen to us. Let's welcome Savio Rodrigues. And Savio, I just lost power, but hopefully it will come back. How are you, sir?
Namaste, and thank you for having me on your show again, Sree. As usual, it's a pleasure. And what I want to tell your viewers, and this is something that they have to pay very close attention to what I'm saying, is for the last several weeks, I have been pointing out to the intent of CIA to destabilize the Modi government in India. The process of the destabilization was something that they had hoped would have happened prior to Modi's victory in the 2024 election. But, but by God's grace and by the votes of the people of India, the Narendra Modi government has come back into power, but it has come back into power with alliance of two known leaders that have the history of not being loyal to the alliance relationship. And that is something that the CIA and the US administration under Joe Biden is extremely aware of. Now, recently, the US Counsel General, Jennifer Larson, and she is a very, very important uh, administrative representative of the US government. She is working very, very closely with the covert and overt operations of the US government in the position that she is. She played a very integral role in Libya to foment or to put forth the US administration's intent in Libya, and we all know the history around it. Now, Jennifer Larson's been meeting with very, very influential political leaders in Andhra Pradesh. And one of the leader that she has met is Chandra Babu Naidu of the TDP. Now, Chandra Babu Naidu of the TDP is an alliance partner, and it is one of the reasons that the Narendra Modi led NDA government is in power today. But after that meeting had happened, what is important to note is that there is certain large section of the NRI community of the people of Andhra Pradesh who are in the US, especially business-oriented people, in particular one businessman that has been working with the US administration to ensure a certain amount of camaraderie with the leaders in Andhra Pradesh. And even more importantly, the evangelical link I was talking about yesterday on social media platform X is about the US Baptist Church. The US Baptist Church funds the Andhra Baptist Church. It gets its funding from the US Baptist Church, and the Andhra Baptist Church has got very strong evangelical foothold in Andhra Pradesh. Now, I believe, and this is what sources in the intelligence circle, not only in India, but outside have been talking about, is the utilization of the evangelical groups in Andhra Pradesh to try and convince Chandrababu Naidu of the TDP to actually walk out of the alliance at some point of time. Now, you don't have to believe my word, but if you want to know what's happening in the world, in the world of intelligence, it's always better to keep a track of what different intelligence agencies and their publications or their front publications talk about certain things happening in India. Now, Russian intelligence have been keeping a track of this. Russian intelligence in through sources in the Sputnik have actually spoken about the same thing I spoke about yesterday, coincidentally yesterday itself, which is they have also said and they believe that the Andhra Pradesh Baptist Church, under the patronage and financial support of the American Baptist Church, to apply pressure on Chandra Babu Naidu to switch sides. This is what the Sputnik has reported. The Andhra Baptist Church is the biggest tool in the CIA's pocket right now to be used against Chandra Babu Naidu. That is the Sputnik's report that has come out. Now, another very important aspect is while we focus, Sree, on CIA, which is the covert operator of the United States administration, there is an overt operator that has come on the India radar way back in 2016, and that is the National Endowment of Democracy. The National Endowment of Democracy is an overt operator to the intent of the United States administration. It reports directly to the President of the United States. Now, in 2016, along with the Open Society Foundation, even the NED was scrutinized and was under watch for the funding coming into India. Now, it is interesting to note why do I say we need to be alert about NED? Because NED is a mirror image of the ILD of CCP. The ILD is the International Liaison Department of the Communist Party of China. And the role that ILD CCP plays is exactly similar to the role that NED plays for the US government. Now, if you go to what NED has, it's got a journal. It's called the Journal of Democracy. And if I read out to you what they have done over a period of time since 2021, they have actually put out, let me just read it out to you, reports on the Indian democracy. So the first article they wrote in 2023 is India Still a Democracy? They've written 5 major articles around it. In April 2024, just before the elections, they wrote why this election in India is most important. And they go on to talk about the fact that the democratic principles, the ideologies of democracy have been hampered in India, and that Narendra Modi himself is the leader of anti-democratic principles in India or works in India. Now, NED has been working, and NED works in a very intricate manner, just like the ILD CCP, which is to sort of work with social influencers, media in particular, and certain political leaders, and they provide grants and funds in order to push the interest of the US idea of democracy. And therefore, if you look at what happened in certain regions like the Arab Spring, if you look at what happened in Philippines, if you look at what happened in Venezuela, if you look at various aspects where the US administration has played and the CIA has played a very critical role, it is the NED through its overt operation with the NGOs, with the media, that have been pushing US interests. And more importantly, they work with NGOs to actually fuel unrest and uneasiness in the populace of a particular country. And in Bangladesh too, the NED is very, very instrumental in fomenting the change or the aggression through content to the youth and the students and the protesters that were there in Bangladesh. So right now, the strategy of the CIA and the US administration under Biden is to weaken Narendra Modi through different channels. One is the economic channel, which is why you had the Hindenburg attack once again, which fell flat. The other is the alliance, because the alliance, they find, is the weakest chunk in the entire armory of the Narendra Modi-led NDA government. And they're going to work, and the dice is already rolled out. Whether it will be successful or not is something I'm not aware of. But as Indians, we need to be not only 100%, but 300% alert to the probability of what the US administration is trying to do in India. There might be some people who are pro US that think that this is a conspiracy theory, but it is not. You have to just look at the signs that are available to you, visual signs of the political game being played by the US administration and the CIA in India. A Narendra Modi led government is something they do not want to continue for the third term. They are going to do everything that they can to destabilize it. More importantly, they want it done before the US elections, because they believe that if Trump comes back into power, then everything that they had planned to destabilize India would come to a standstill. So the fomenting of trouble will have to happen before the Trump election. So they're going to do everything in their power. Besides the alliance, the CIA is going to work with various different protest groups on issues that will be surprising to many of us, and they will turn around into large protests that will raise questions on the Indian government, on Narendra Modi's leadership. And that too will happen before the election of the US presidency, where we are hoping Donald Trump would win. The chances are, if they want to continue, they will knock out Donald Trump as well in the elections or before the election through Trump's strategic move. The point is, Chandra Babu Naidu, the leaders in Andhra Pradesh like 𝗒𝘂𝘁, who would want at any point of time to not see the BJP government, no matter how much close a relationship they claim to have with the country or for the country, the fact is that they are sitting ducks to the US administration and the CIA. And which is important for the Indian government to track every activity of the Andhra Baptist Church, track every activity of the NED and the grants that have gone out, to who they have gone out to, what have they used it for, in order to form a trail to where this is leading. Because for sure, there is trouble that is planned before the US presidential elections.
Savio, a couple of questions. Also, you can think of them as observations. Number one, even when Modi had absolute majority, he didn't lift his little finger to try and make sure that riots like the what Bagh, Shaheen Bagh, or the farmers' education V1 happened. He had an absolute majority. He didn't try to stop them. Then the explanation given was that, oh, we are trying to find out the root cause of the people, where the source of funding is from, and therefore we can act on it. Did they act on it? I don't know. Kashmir, if they did act on it, farmer riots version 2 would not have happened. So clearly that was not really done. I mean, I'm going to be brutally frank here, because I am the voice of the people who are asking all these questions. If there's an absolute majority, if you couldn't do anything when CIA or anybody else tries to foment trouble in India, without that majority, I don't see them doing anything. I mean, when you had the means and power, you didn't do it. Now, are they going to do it? I think not. Also, a lot of other things that come to my mind that are disturbing me. Well, I'll give you another example. Let's say CBN walks out, right? 16 seats go. They are around 303 or something like that. That is still a comfortable majority for the NDA. They can still continue to govern. Even if Nitish Kumar goes, even if JDS goes, right? These things, 240 is a big number. I would not be worried too much about being pushed out of power. Number one. So what is also contrarian here is, if CIA wants to dislodge Modi, the deep state actually loses more than everybody else. They have put in so much money into India. Why would they spite their own nose, Savio?
Okay, the reason being is that while the deep state has put in a lot of money, and there is certainly a lot of investments coming from the US, there are investments opening up for China through the FDI route into India as well, the probability of it, it's under duress right now. But they need a government that they can control. The Narendra Modi led government is not a government that is going to be able to be controlled, because Narendra Modi himself is predominantly creating the foundation for what is essentially a stronger Bharat, which is something that is not digestible to the US and the CIA. Like I said in a previous talk with you itself, the CIA wants a Christian nation in this region. Okay? The Christian nation is required in order for them to be able to exert a certain amount of pressure, because you have Islamic nations in the Indian subcontinent, but you don't have a Christian nation in the Indian subcontinent. The issue that you had in Bangladesh actually stemmed from a refusal of Sheikh Hasina to give them the St. Martin's Island. And they needed the St. Martin's Island primarily for armed forces base, a naval base. And that is why they decided to dislodge her. Now, it's not easy to dislodge Narendra Modi from the Indian government, but if they keep poking and creating turmoil or protests and people opposing the government and the negativity of the government in the international arena, in the global arena, a lot of investors looking at investing into India shy away. Now, the economic growth is the end strategy of the CIA to touch. When I mean economic growth, is that they don't want Indian companies growing larger than American companies. They are okay with American companies investing into India, growing and building. Let's take something as simple as social media. India today has not been able to create a global social media platform. But in India today, we are using American based products or products like X and Facebook and Instagram to actually reach out to larger audiences within India itself. It's something that China doesn't allow. Google is one of the most important search engines used by everyone in India. So they want American companies to flourish here. They don't want Indian companies to do very well. It was the same strategy deployed by the ILD-CCP when they signed the MOU with the Indian National Congress in 2008. And the deficit between India and China rose exponentially at that time, the financial deficit. So the idea is to give an advantage to the American companies. The CIA's role in any country when they foment trouble is put the government of their choice so that the policies that they want are further put ahead. Now, the government of India, in its own wisdom, to which some people see as weakness, could have dealt with the Shaheen Bagh differently, could have dealt with the farmer protest differently, or more assertively or more aggressively, but that's in the past. What we have to look at is learn from the errors that we have made in the past and take firm, stricter action now in the present so that we cement the future.
Savio, I'll draw your attention to one remark that you made, that India is now again going to start taking or allowing FDI from China. Now, if this is the reason, this is according to the new Chief Economic Advisor, Anantha Nageshwaran, and it has been echoed or backed up by Nirmala Sitharaman the following day. Now, I'm just keeping that data point because viewers, we're going to take a little bit of a detour because the economies of these countries are also intertwined in this. And I'm going to try and present a scenario which is, leading to something very interesting. So keep that thing in mind, right? So India went ahead and banned 132 software companies from China to be usable in India. PUBG went, TikTok went, TikTok's tools went, many other software, everything is gone. India never, complained about it. The youth of India didn't complain because our great president, so Joe Biden, refused to ban TikTok because he was afraid that if he banned TikTok in the United States, that he would lose the entire youth vote. Okay, US should understand how limited they have become, how toothless they have become, rather than trying to engineer a revolution. By the way, I said this yesterday and I'm going to repeat today. The name given to the Bangladesh revolution was called Monsoon Revolution. I have news for you, for those Department of State lumps. These people don't apply their mind. They have the hatred of India first. Logic takes 5-6 steps behind. Remember, India has monsoon weddings, not monsoon revolutions. So you cannot do this, what you are trying to do in India, especially the thing about creating a Christian state. The thing is, Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam, they are very fluid, because at the end of the day, everybody is Sanatani in their mindset. I don't know if you know this or not, Savio. It is believed that Bangladesh turned Islamic because one of their Hindu kings became a Muslim, and the entire population moved with him. I have to go and look at some references. So just keep one thing in mind. I'm sorry to drift. If India allows FDI, there must be a reason for it. I'm trying to play not the devil's, but the angel's advocate for India. September, India is expected to, along with the other BRICS nations, announce a competing currency that is going to be based on gold. Okay. Correct. And this will completely take the wind out of the dollar sales. If this happens,
yes,
the other side, what the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who used to be Federal Reserve Chair, is thinking of doing is to infuse more liquidity, meaning more pump dollars, quantitative easing into the system before elections. Because if they don't do it, they believe that the stock market will crash, and ergo, the person in power, which is the Democrats, they will lose. So you have these competing things. But if in September, this event is independent of what US can and will do. In September, if the
Correct.
BRICS announces a currency based on gold, I'm telling you that's a significant step in de-dollarization. And PGurus is being one of the first ones to predict something like this could happen that could derail. That doesn't mean that the dollar is going to be thrown on the streets and somebody else will just say that this from here on we are going to deal with some other currency. It just means it's a body blow. They cannot do these revolutions anymore. And the slide that will start after that is the dollar will start losing value against other currencies. And then it becomes a rout. It will be a trickle, it becomes a flood. And sorry, I am an American citizen too. I am going to be in for a lot of pain in 5 years from now. And the future generations are, the best word I can use, it starts with the letter F and ends with the letter D, 6 letters. You guys fill in the dots. This is what's going to happen to the future generation. This is what I am trying to stop by telling the United States, especially those dodos in the Department of State, don't do this. Yes, India is not listening to you. That's because you're being illogical. So that is what I am trying to say. Anyway, this is my 2 cents. But there is a more intricate thing going above all these things.
The most, and what you need to look at is, yes, the global nations are slowly trying to move away from the hegemony of the US. There is also a growing hegemony of China in various nations, and therefore the US-China conflict is really creating a divide. But more than that, you see individual nations, like let's take Saudi Arabia, for example, in the Arab world. They are trying to also stamp their authority in the region where they are by evolving and by moving away from Islamic radicalism and moving to a more liberal or more democratic setup in terms of operations, if not in monarchy. But the point is this. The point is America, because of the CIA, will want to have hegemony wherever it is. In fact, one of the chinks in the armor of the relationship with Bangladesh was the visit of Sheikh Hasina to China, and then Sheikh Hasina working out a relationship with India And that really angered the Americans because she was not bound down to their demands. So America, when it starts losing hold where they want to have hold, will start playing very vicious. Look at the farmers' protest. The farmers' protest was ably backed by people based in the US. In fact, leading publications of United States, which are fronts for the CIA, like the New York Times and the Washington Post, actually carried advertisements of organizations supporting the farmer protest, which are organizations that are funded very subtly or in some case directly by conduits of the CIA itself and Soros. So that's the same thing that happened in Shaheen Bagh as well. So what do they want in India? They don't want a Narendra Modi government in India at this point of time. In fact, they wanted the Indian government not to be a majority. They didn't want a BJP majority in power. They wanted a coalition government in power so that they can rattle. As soon as information keeps going out that we are rattling your alliances, there is a probability that they feel that it will weaken Modi's stance as far as certain decisions that they need to take collectively. But I'm saying this again, while China is the clear and present danger, the real danger is the United States under Joe Biden or the Democrats for India.
Well, I got to tell you one thing, Savio. Even if even if Trump administration comes into place in November, not many people in the Department of State handling South Asia are going to change. These are what I call as the unflushables. Sorry to use a very crude term of praise, because I want people to understand the kind of hold that Pakistan has managed to establish in some of these departments. And they are so rude. They don't even pick up my goddamn phone. It's my taxpayer money that funds their salaries.
You see,
and I don't even know who the Hindu representative in 𝗒𝗎𝗄 Iyer App now is.
Well, let me give you an example, Sree. You have something known as the parade, that the Independence Day parade that the Indian diaspora does in the US. And there was this time they wanted to bring the replica of the Ram Mandir at that parade. They have been told, the organizers, the Association of Indian Businessmen have been told that you cannot have the Ram Mandir float in that parade or we will cancel the entire parade. Now, this has been going on for 40 years. This parade has been happening for 40 years. The organizers told me last night, India time, that they have been told that the Ram Mandir float cannot be a part of the parade. If it is a part of the parade will not be allowed to be held. It will be cancelled. That is the level of irritation that the US administration is having towards what they see as Hindutva politics, which is really their problem, not the problem of India. But you also had that similar thing. The artist behind the Ram Mandir, his visa did not get cleared for the US. So they are not looking at India purely from the economics of governance and geopolitics. It is also a very strong religious target of India. It is that Sanatan Dharma, the Hindutva, the rise of Hinduism, India re-establishing its strength in the Indic philosophies and spreading its messages is what is really not going down well with the CIA, because the CIA is again controlled by the church, which is predominantly the evangelicals in the US.
The evangelicals should, look at themselves in the mirror. They can't get their youth to come to the church. First, fix your own house before you start preaching Christianity to other countries. Number one. Number two, you mentioned that this float could become a big issue. I am telling all the Democrat voting Indian Americans, guys, if this doesn't prove that Democrats hate you, I don't know what will. There are many of you, in fact, 65% Indian Americans vote Democrat. Time for you to review your vote. I mean, if you want to still vote because you think Kamala Harris is a Hindu, you are thinking wrong. She has declared herself to be a Christian. Go look at her nomination papers. Don't believe my word. She
You see,
is not a
Sri,
Hindu. She is not. I'm
this
just trying to make a point here, Savio. Just let me, because people will find some lame reason. One of the problems of Indian American diaspora is if somebody tries to tell them something that is not their belief, they tend to think I know more than you. You don't lecture to me. I am just telling you the facts. If you still go and vote for Indian American, if you still want to go and vote for your Democrat, you are like that frog that is being slow cooked. That's all I can say. You're going to say something, Savio.
the issue with evangelicals is really not much to do with the faith aspect of the religion. It has to do with running of the institution. It's about money at the end of the day. The more the flock they have, the more the money they get via donations, via tithes, via various other things. So that is where the spread of the religion is all about. And we've seen that happen. And one of the focus areas of the CIA has been the Northeast. And I keep saying this over and over again. I'm not blaming the ones that have faith in Christianity, and that's fine. But there is a ability for those who are being converted and who are not nationalistic in their beliefs to be influenced to work against the interest of the country, being brainwashed to teach them that your country is working against your religion. Let me tell you, as an Indian Christian, and there are many like me, the country is as much, India is as much a nation of an Indian Christian as it is of a Muslim, of a Hindu, of a Parsi, of a Sikh. So do not fall prey to the negative propaganda that is being percolated through WhatsApp across various groups. Yes, there are instances of conflict that have happened between religious communities, but that percentage, if you were to compare it with conflict that have happened with religious communities in the US itself, is much, much less. Today, if a Hindu, a Christian, or a Muslim are having a conflict, and if you were to compare it with the conflicts, religious conflicts happening in the US or Canada and UK, you will find that it is much, much less, because where there is humans, there will always be conflict about religion or caste, but the country is above every one of us. And you, as an Indian Christian, as much a son and daughter of Bharat Mata as any other Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Parsi, anyone, even an atheist. India is about India, it's not about the religion. So don't fall prey, and let us understand what CIA is trying to do in India and learn to thwart and stand united as a country.
Thank you, Savio. We have a few questions for you, if you don't mind taking them.
Sure.
Let's go for the questions, please. Narayana wants to know, sir, do you think Naidu will fall in the trap if a deep state offers him companies coming to Andhra? No, it will be much bigger than that.
No, I really can't comment on what would be the outcome. My job was to put out the information which I got as a journalist, and that's what I've done. The outcome is anybody's guess. Only time will tell. But I believe, let us work together to ensure it doesn't happen.
Next one, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know, a news report says Deputy Secretary of State Richard Verma is visiting Bharat to advance and support secure future for both nations and covertly try to destabilize. How does such hypocrisy work?
Well, they are hypocrites. There's nothing new to that. The US administration are hypocrites. They will play the role of a friend, and then behind they will do what they can see. Again, I'm coming back to the problem. The problem is Narendra Modi. But the even bigger problem is the rising of India as Bharat. And don't get me wrong, this is a civilizational war. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a civilizational war. Can I ask your viewers only one question? If the Ram Mandir was a part of the float at the Independence Day parade, why should that be an objection to the people in America if they are secular and democratic as they claim to be? What is so wrong in the float of a Ram Mandir? It clearly shows the intent.
Next one, please. I'll move it. Thank you, 𝗣𝙬𝗍𝘍. This plot was done in 2019 by detracting Chandra Babu Naidu through IAS officer close to Rahul, now aligned with BJP and trustable Pavan Kalyan. I don't know what the plot was. You mean the Baptist plot? I don't know. Subhayaji, can you please?
I don't have an answer.
There is here. 𝗣𝙬𝗍𝘍, thank you again. IAS worked with Babu till 2004, but trust Pavan Ka. Some insider info. I don't know much about it. Let's go to the next one. Aditya Vijay Kumar wants to know, why are you guys saying September? Because that's the next BRICS meeting in Kazakhstan. Sir, go ahead. You want to add something to that, Savio?
No. It's the next BRICS meeting anyway.
Yeah. How is Sree R.S. Mani? I have heard that he's doing fine. He's recovering. He's still in the hospital, but he's recovering.
Yeah. That's correct.
One,
I spoke to him as well.
Oh, good. I haven't spoken to him yet. I thought I won't disturb him. But I've been following keenly what has been happening. Maithili wants to know, Savioji, Namaskaram. If Chandra Babu Naidu withdraws, Pavan Kalyan may shift the balance. Your views?
Actually, right now, I don't have a view on what's going to happen. What we are trying to understand is how they are going to exert pressure on Chandra Babu Naidu. That's what we've been trying to analyze, but we'll know in a couple of days.
Thank you, Shyam Tarun, for your support. Sree Iyer wants to know, what about illegals in Kerala? My dear friend, what about illegals in India? Go ahead.
Well, we have to keep a watch on that. There are a lot of illegal immigrants in India. We know the nations that they're coming from, and we need to be alert about it. I think the Indian government is working on that, and that is why you need an NRC as well.
Thank you so much, Savio. Viewers, this is
My
something
pleasure.
that has taken a little bit of a left turn, right turn a bit, but understand the geopolitics is very intricately intertwined with this. I mean, Saudi Arabia needs to also reflect that much of the funding that caused all this radicalism in South Asia is its own making, UAE included. The entire oil-rich nations, you guys were pouring money hand over fist because you didn't want your own religious Wahhabis to make problem there. So you told them, okay, you concentrate on doing this. So you guys are just as responsible as others. So don't today say that. Just one second, I want to finish this because I really hate the way Qatar does business. That when there is a wrong thing being spread by another ASS, you can finish the thing. Sitting in India, you guys jump up and down. You are also cause of this part of this problem. Sir, go ahead.
Muammar Gaddafi made a very, very interesting statement when he was around. And maybe that could become a part of our next conversation when you and I have it. He said that Europe will be conquered without a bullet. He made this very profound statement because he believed that the Muslim Brotherhood at that point of time arrived at a solution where they could spread the hegemony of Islamic radicalism across Europe and the world. And that is why he said Europe will be conquered by Islam without the use of a bullet.
Yes, indeed. And there are more comments. I would love to answer those, but we are running out of time. Thank you, Savio. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Namaskar.